Well, hello there, folks. Jason here again to talk to you about life. Today's topic is work is for old people. So, most of us all have to work, or we have to have some form of making money to pay our bills. That's pretty basic. But this topic is about how we're taught going out into the work world is and how it actually is. So, we're taught we live in the greatest country ever known to man, the land of opportunity, capitalism. While all that is true, there's a lot of in between the lines that's left out. So when you say that this is the land of opportunity, that anyone can come here and basically make $1 million or live the American dream, which is pretty much being successful in whatever you do. Now here's some fallacies with that. When you're 16, 17 years old entering the work world, all this gives somebody the impression that, well, if you go out and do the right things and you go out and work hard, you're going to win over the lazy bums already in the workforce. So, say for example, I go and work at a fast food restaurant or a retail store at 18 years old, and that if I do all the right things, if I work hard, if I'm there every time that they need me there, if I'm on time every day, I never break any of the rules, and I outwork everyone, that I'm going to get the management position over the 40-year-old who's a fat slob and doesn't take his job that seriously. But the truth is, when you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, you're not going to make very much money. I don't care if you are the best employee. Why? Because the people in charge are just going to look at you like, you're just a kid. We ain't got to pay you that much. You still live at home with your parents. You're just 19 years old. I ain't got to pay you very much. But when that person is you, you're sitting there like, I bust my damn ass every day. You need to pay accordingly to the work I do compared to others. And this is why I say that work is for old people. Because even if you're 17, 18, even when you come out of college in your early 20s, the grown ups are not going to let you make that much money. They'll say it's because of your experience. You don't have the experience of a 30 or 40-year-old, but really it's just because of your age. Now, the only way around this is if you go to college for a really good degree, or if you're able to start your own business, like, say, Facebook or, something like that. Because there are success stories of someone who was 18 years old, started an internet business, and they were a millionaire by the time they were 18. Yes, that does happen, but that is very rare. The majority of the time, it's this person's 18 years old, all they're able to get is an entry level job, and they make $9 an hour. That's the reality for the majority of people that age, young people. Because I've seen two sets of people growing up. I've seen people who got out of high school and went to work and worked their asses off, while others just went to college, went to a university, enjoyed their life, and partied. And the people who didn't work while they went to college and just enjoyed their 20s, enjoyed their college time, got out of college with no work experience and got better jobs than the kids that had been working that whole time. But doesn't hard work pay off? Well, that's a very broad definition. When people say hard work pays off, they don't mean physically hard work. We leave the physical hard work for immigrants. When people say hard work pays off, they mean you go to college, you study, you pass all the tests, and then get a job. Now, most everyone I know that I grew up with pretty much all do what their dads did. If the dad was a plumber, the son became a plumber. If the dad worked in the tool shop, the son worked in the tool shop. If the dad worked for the city, son became a fireman, and so on. Why is that? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, most companies don't hire unknown people. Like, there's this misconception out there that you just put your resume on monster.com and some employer is going to find it and give you a job. Now, yes, that happens sometimes, but more times not. Companies like to hire people that already know somebody who's working there because the employer wants to know who they're hiring. And if you have a reference, they can go to that person and say, hey, John over here wants a job, and you're friends with John, or John's your brother, whatever the situation is. How is John? Is he a good worker? Is he going to do a good job? Because if he don't do a good job, it's coming back on your ass. So they know if you're willing to stick your neck out for someone to get a job, that they better do a good job. Because you're not going to refer somebody that sucks. And this also goes into another topic of, it is important to be popular. because you have to know people to get places. You have to know people to get jobs. You have to know people to make sales. And you have to keep a good reputation to do all that. And another reason that all these people went to work doing what their dad did is because they make more money because they have a family member vouch for them. Because let's say a guy named Sam owns his own business. If he brings his son down there to work, he's going to pay his son a lot of money because it's his son and he can do that. Now, if he throws his son just out in the general work world, you're going to be paid the bottom wage there is for the job that you're going to do. So pretty much say like landscaping. If you're a landscaper and if you just go work at a landscape company, the boss is going to sit there and look at, well, landscaper right now is going for $10 an hour, and I'll pay you $10 an hour because that's what the competitive pay is. Because I'm not going to pay you any more than 10 because I can hire any Joe Blow up and down the street and pay him $10 an hour. But if you have an uncle or something that owns a landscaping company and you're going to go work for him, he's going to say, well, that's my nephew. I'm going to pay him $20 an hour because you can't live off $10 an hour. That's what I pay Scum. And this isn't Scum. This is my nephew. So I want to pay him more. So that kind of goes into where, people say life isn't fair. Yeah, it's not even close to being fair. All these employers have so much discretion on how they want to do things. Just like I pointed out that, well, I'm going to pay this person $20 an hour because I want to do the job. Well, this other person doing the exact same job, I'm going to pay them half that. I'm going to pay them $10 an hour because I don't really know them. They're not family or nothing like that. So screw them. Let them figure it out for themselves. So let's say, hey, I'm going to turn 18. I'm going to go be a real estate agent, or I'm going to go be a salesman somewhere, a car salesman or whatever. And, salesmen make good money. The thing you have to think is when you're 18 years old, who's going to buy anything from you? Everybody's going to look at you like, you just some stupid kid. I'm not buying a house from you. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And you may know very well what you're doing. You may have studied hard and really know everything. And it's just because of your age. And again, there could be a 40-year-old salesman that may not know crap about what he's doing. And a customer is going to have his trust just because he's 40. The customers will think that, this guy must know what he's doing. He's 40. That 18-year-old kid over there, there ain't no way he knows crap. Well, I'm 18 years old. I'm going to go start my own business. Well, it isn't really just as simple as that. In order to start a business, you have to know what you're doing. And most people have to work in that industry 10, 15 years before they can branch out and go start a business. Now, if you wanted to start a landscape company or something like that, cut grass, yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, you get a mower and you just start, cutting grass. But stuff doing with healthcare and stuff like that, most of those people that own healthcare companies, they didn't just come out of college and then start the company up. They had to have someone show them the ins and out of the business that school doesn't teach you. And if you don't have a family member that's willing to do that, people aren't going to show you their secrets. People keep their jobs very guarded. They're just not going to sit there and be like, oh, hey, yeah, we're friends. Let me show you how to do my job. Because nobody's going to show you how to do their job because that makes them less valuable. Everybody learns their trade and they keep it a secret. They don't want you knowing what they know. Now, there are ways, like I said before, but it's very rare. I mean, there's probably a 10-year-old on YouTube somewhere that's made $50,000. And there's others who are 50 years old and they've never made over $9 an hour. So the point of the story here is to enjoy your life. If you're 19 years old and you're working at a fast food restaurant, don't feel bad about it. And yeah, there's a lot of other 19-year-olds that they just go down and work at daddy's business and they get started out making 50,000 a year, but that's just life. But I can tell you, looking back, none of the entry-level jobs were worth giving my life up to. Let's say that I wanted to, just move and go to Florida and go down there, live for 6 months or a year and just kind of bounce around, be irresponsible and, quit my job here to do all that. At the time, you're brainwashed to believe, oh, that would be irresponsible. People who do things like that, they don't turn out good. They're going to be poor. But if you stay here and if you work really hard, maybe 20 years from now, it's really going to pay off. But you know what? You're only 20 years old once. You're only 19 once. You're only 21 once, and etc. Those days of, hey, I'm just going to walk out on this fast food job and quit and head down to Florida and live for 6 months just for the hell of it, those days are gone once you have kids and get married. So I say no. Ain't no fast food or retail job worth you giving up your youth like that. Well, you could have stayed on and then you could have been a shift manager or you could have been an assistant manager. And then what? You make another dollar an hour? Is that worth giving up your life for? Because you know what? They got fast food places in Florida or whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And I can tell you, most all the people that I worked with, they're not any better off now than they were 20 years ago. Yeah, they've gotten small little raises, but it's never kept up with inflation. And a lot of those people make when you account for inflation, price of gas and all that stuff, they make the exact same money now than they did 20 years ago at most of those jobs. That whole work your butt off and get ahead is a bunch of bullshit. Now, you work hard at your own business, you get to reap the rewards. But working hard for somebody else, if you're an employee, they get to reap all the rewards. All you're given is a paycheck. But I mean, I can tell you from experience that when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, I was on fire. And I mean, I'm still ambitious now. It's just my life's a lot busier. And the things that I wanted then are not the things that I want now. But I mean, when I was 18, I was on fire. I worked all the time. I worked and paid myself through college. And while you're told that those are all the right things to do, like I said, then you look back and a lot of those times that I could have quit a job, but I didn't because, you're taught to be responsible. You look back and like, it wouldn't have changed my life one bit. And I mean, that's sad for an older person to sit there and look at an 18-year-old and just be like, don't even try to go make something of yourself in the rat race. You're young and stupid, you're 20 or whatever you are, just go do what 20-year-olds do. And the majority of people have that mentality. Well, no, I want to be different. I'm going to go out there and kick some ass. Well, like I was saying, you realize some things when you get older that a lot of the economy is controlled. We live in a debt-based economy. Even though we say we're capitalists, we have socialism all through in the way that we do things. Because look at people that buy a house with a mortgage. You're going to live there 30 years and you're going to pay it off. All it takes is you getting really sick, being out of work for 6 months or a year, having a bad injury, or needing a lawyer for some type of litigation. You could lose what you took your whole life working for. And then you got inflation and the way the economy is going and everything else. That's because the government has it designed to where people don't accumulate wealth or they don't pass on land. Now, you can do those things if you're in the top 50%. I just guess, but the right now the bottom third, it's either the bottom third or the bottom fourth of the population is on food stamps, is on welfare. Well, you definitely can never own anything outright if you're on welfare. So the whole idea of, hey, I'm going to work hard, save my money, and one day own my house. Well, you know what? I've known a good number of people that have lived their lives that way, basically with the mentality of, I'm working hard. I'm working hard right now, and I'm going to enjoy my life when I retire. I'm going to start enjoying my life when I get 60. And you know what happens? They turn 60, they start to semi-retire, start to enjoy life. They get cancer and die at 62. So I don't know if I totally answer the question here. I kind of went on a rant off into a couple different things. But the basic moral of the story is most people that are making the good money, the big bucks, have been in the workforce 15 or 20 years. And they've devoted 15, 20 years to a job, to a career, to get there. And the bottom point is, if you're an 18-year-old, just go be an 18-year-old, 19, 20, whatever. Act your age. If you're 20, go do what all other 20-year-olds are doing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take some time and try to better your life or try to work towards a career, but back to the whole moving away thing or wanting to live your dreams, whatever it is. Don't give up your dreams of being free to do whatever. Go to Florida, live in a hotel or apartment for 6 months or a year and just, bounce around. Don't give that up over a job that pays minimum wage just because they're giving you these empty promises of, oh, you can't live like that. That's irresponsible. You're never going to be a manager. So you better be a good little slave and stay here on the plantation. I want to add just one last point to this real quick. Another reason that work is for old people is that your sex organs, aren't going to work the same when you get older. Just your overall health in general. Your body slows down when you get older. You're at your peak in your youth. health-wise. I mean, if you're 20 years old and if you think that your body's going to stay the same way it is now, like just overall health and your energy and all the things you can do and sexually, it's not. People's bodies slow down as they get older. Half of all men over 40 have problems with uh, erectile dysfunction, and that's a fact statistic. And women in general, their sex drive goes down after they have a baby. And if a guy can't get an erection anymore, then sure, let him work all the time. I mean, if you can't get an erection anymore, you don't really have nothing to do, you know, except work anyways. You might as well be out making money. But if you're young and you have a healthy body, you need to be enjoying your youth while you have it, because each day that's going away. So it's kind of a crappy fact of life that when people are in their youth and their prime, most of them aren't really going to be making money. And when they do get out making finally the good money in their 40s and 50s, yeah, they got the money coming in, but they don't have the body they did when they were 20. And we live in a generation today that we don't let 18-year-olds be grown-ups. That used to, back in the old days, if you were 18 and you got a girl pregnant, you went and got married, and you were out on your own taking care of yourself. Well, today's generation's not like that. First of all, you just can't get a job at any place making minimum wage and actually pay your bills and have a living. So pretty much anybody that has a kid or has kids that works at a minimum wage job is on welfare, some type of welfare. Whether it's food stamps, they get back a tax refund that they didn't pay into, they get free health insurance from the government, or they don't have health insurance, so they just go to the doctor and not pay the bill. All these are forms of welfare. And today's generation, the baby boomers, have made it to where they're old, they make all the money, they won't retire and get out of the way and let the younger people come up and take the jobs. Most of them are just hanging in there. They won't retire and they'll just work their job until they die, and they give their money to their kids. So while you're out there trying to work hard and make ends meet, there's another person your age that they just get a lot of their stuff paid for by their baby boom parent. So that's another reason why work is for old people, and that you need to enjoy your youth, your health, and stuff while you're young, while you have it, because the chances of you being young and making a lot of money are just not very high. So I try to keep these kind of short. This one kind of went a little bit long. I'd love to hear your take on it. Just leave a comment below what your opinions are. Check out my other work that I have on Amazon.com. I have books and videos on life, relationships, money, work. So just go to Amazon.com and type in Jason Judkins into the search. That's Judkins. Subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos, and as always, thanks for listening.